Hey guys, tonight I'm gonna tie a fly for coastal sea trout. It's a very popular pattern here in Denmark for fishing in the fjords. Um, it's in Danish it's called airhern, but I guess the nearest translation would be the partridge. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Um, this fly is a very good all round fly for coastal sea trout because it imitates so many of the food subject for the sea trouts in the fjords, like the gamaros or the sculpins or the small sticklebacks, and it's just a very just a very all round pattern, I guess, and it's quite an easy tie as well, and you only use free materials for this fly, and it's just it looks like a million in the water. I would never leave home without it. Um, Not for fishing anyway, I guess. The hook I'm starting out with is an Arex hook. It's the light stinger in size 6, and I'm using a white thread, but it doesn't really matter what color your thread is. It's just it's gonna be visible on the head of the fly, but that otherwise it's just it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna start in by winding the thread up down the hook shank here. I'm just gonna stop right here, just before the bend. I don't want to go into the bend because then my fly is gonna have like a crooked tail, and it's gonna look weird. So I'm just gonna take a partridge feather here to use for the tail. I'm just gonna nip off this floppy part here in the end of the feather here, and I'm just gonna take off the tip as well, just like that. Then I'm just gonna brush these like this. Brush these fibers back. Make 2 loose turns. And just pull in the fibers here. And tighten down. Then I have a very nice tipped tail down here. Just wrap up this. And tie off the excess. Like this. Tidy up and wind down to the starting point. Now I'm gonna use my first piece of dubbing, and this dubbing is a little special. It's a blend, I guess you can say, of the fleshy blue dubbing in pearl and the SLF squirrel dubbing in I guess you can call it, it's called nature or something like that. It's just a neutral color, no dyes necessary here. When you mix these two dubbing up, you get a very neat dubbing. It's a very, it's an earthy color, but it has this really nice flashing to it. Don't use too much flash. You don't want a flashy dubbing all like that. It's just, a few strains here and there just to give it a little sparkle down there. And I'm just gonna take this dubbing and apply it to my thread like I usually would. And then I'm gonna make a thick back body here. Like this. Doesn't matter, you like this. And you might think this looks a little bit thick for the fly, but when I'm done with this fly, I'm gonna give it a hell of a swirl with my dubbing needle, to try to brush some of this flesh and some of the dubbing into the fly. Right, I'm gonna apply my first feather now. Of course, a partridge feather, just in nature, not the French partridge. Take off the fluff in the end of the feather. Now I have a nice handle to, control the feather here. Find the tip, don't nip it off this time. And just brush these fibers back. Then have a neat tying point up here. And just take this to the hook. Take this tag here, fold it over, and give it a few wraps. Now I know this hackle is gonna stay in place no matter what I do with the feather. Unless I snap it like I've done tons of time, because these feathers are really delicate. So I don't use the dubbing. Nonsense. I don't use a hackle plier for this one, because if I just use my feathers, not my feathers, my fingers like this, I can really feel the tension of the feather. So I'm not afraid of giving it a little bit, because I know how much this can take. With a what is it called, a hackle plier, you don't really feel the pull in the same way. Try it out. If it works for you, it works for you. Here we go. Tie off this feather. And snip off the stem. Like this. Hold my feathers back here. And then just tie them down. Perfect. Take a little more dubbing here. And then do the same thing again. Not a lot of variety in this fly, I guess you can say. Like this. Now I need another hackle here. Do the same thing again. Find the tip. Press the fibers back. And tie it in. Fold it over. Tie it in. And then wind. Just like that. Tie in the stem. Fold it back. And the same thing. And cut it off. Then I'm gonna take my last piece of dubbing here. Wind it on the thread. And do the same thing. You guessed it, again. Just like this. All the way to the hook line. All the way to the hook eye, almost. And then I'm gonna wind my final hackle here in exactly the same way as before. Find the tip. Press the fibers back. And wind. Fold over. Tie down. And fold in. Always remember when you're folding in hackle like this to fold back the fibers. Otherwise they're gonna just get caught on each other and you're just gonna end up with a hackle lump instead of a nice voluminous hackle here. Tie off the stem. Just like this. Snip it. I'm just gonna take my fingers here and just fold them backwards, all these fibers, and make a small head. Just like that. Wait finish. Oops. Just like this. Tighten down. Cut off your thread. And I'm gonna take my dubbing needle here. This is a CF one. This is really nice because I have a steel brush here, which really can make this come to life. And of course all the materials and the hooks and everything is collected on Daniel's site, flytying.eu, so it's easy. Here we go. This is the finished fly. And I'll see you in the next one.